Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. Today, I have a very, very special guest here for the show today. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're calling from?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Kimberly. My name's Geeta Sidhu-Robb, and I'm based in London, in England.
Okay. And can you go ahead and tell me your extensive, credible, really good past leading up into what you do now?
It comes from just being old as heck. I used to be a lawyer, and I was a lawyer for like a couple of years, and I had my first child, and he got very sick, and I spent a lot of time. I spent around 6 months in hospital with him, coming in and out, and you couldn't keep a job and be doing that. So I lost that job, and then I started to work for myself, and then I built a business. I met my next husband during the course of building that business. I had 2 more kids. We built this huge business. The marriage went bad, very, very bad. And I was like, all right, I woke up one day and my son said to me, and he was 7, and he was like, Mama, we need to leave before he hurts us even more.
Wow.
And yeah, I was like, shit. Okay. And, he just, and I thought, all right, I'm not keeping this quiet, am I really? And I thought I was doing a good job and so we picked up and we walked out, and he was 7. I think it was 7, 3.5, and 1.5. I remember having a bag of diapers. So 1.5. And I walked around the corner to my mother's house because, she was around the corner. And, I was like, just send me my half of the money. Because we'd built this huge business together, right? He didn't do it alone. He couldn't have done it alone. And in the middle of, putting the kids here, my mother going, you cannot stay here. You need to go back to your husband, because that's what you do. People fight. And I'm like, it's not just fighting. We're not safe. And she's like, well, you can't stay here. And I came from a very wealthy family too. But my father had gotten very ill at this stage, and he wasn't really available to kind of stand up for me. And so, and in the time I was giving the sippy cup and the bringing the school and saying, we're not coming and all this, he emptied all our bank accounts. So we were left with £200 that was in my handbag and my jewelry that I was wearing.
What is in your culture, and how did you grow, and what did you learn from the bitter divorce or the breakup? Because I know it happened to me too. I just wanted to be free and from the dysfunctional stuff. So what in your culture, when your mother told you, hey, look, go back to him, is that in your culture for them to say that?
Yes, it's very Asian. Don't let the neighbors know. Don't talk about it. Keep it really quiet. And if you leave, it's your fault. If something bad happens to you, that's also your fault. The women are always to blame. And I don't know, something kind of snapped in my brain. And I was like, this is absolute rubbish. I don't agree with this. I'm not going to live with this. And my mother was doing this thing of, you have 3 kids. No other man's going to want you, and da-da-da. And I was like, there's a cue, right? I don't know if I want them. And I was like, there was something in my brain that was like, no, I have tried being a good girl. I've tried doing everything that I was supposed to do. I tried doing it the right way, and I am never doing that again. So that was the first thing. The second thing, I didn't know that I was doing it that consciously when I look back. The second thing was, I am never again going to get married and be dependent on a man. Finished. The third thing, because I was going to make my own choices, or a woman, because my mother wasn't fun to depend on either, for that matter. And the third thing was, my children came from a particular background, right? And not everybody understands this, but as mothers, you want to give your children the best that you can. I did not want my kids to go and hang out with their cousins and not understand their lifestyle and feel out of place and feel like they didn't belong. I was like, oh, hell no, we're not doing that. So I kept them in the private school they were in, and oh my Lord, it was expensive. It was.
But you did it. You did it.
I did it. The kids got scholarships. I went and I begged. I remember sitting in front of the chief finance officer of the school and opening up my bank app and just going, this is how much money I've got. And this has to last me till I make more money. And he was like, oh shit, because there was nothing, at all. I remember going into Christmas with 120 pounds and nothing, no money for 4 weeks. Because it was Christmas. You know how Christmas, everything kind of closes down. So, it was just that. And it was okay. And I just was very committed because, like you said, it happened to you. I don't think what happened to me was anything special. I think it happens to millions and millions and millions of women around the world.
What we need to wonder is, though, I don't mean to cut you off, but what we need to wonder is, both parties, maybe we need like classes or something, because it's just, we keep running into the same spaces in relationships. One person is more dominant and have more money than the other, and the one that's dominant always, try to control the situation, or the one with money that's not dominant and submissive. It goes back and forth. What do you think?
I don't think that that's as relevant as it used to be when women had no choices. True. So for me, the commitment I made was to being as successful as I could humanly be. And I am wildly successful.
I like that.
Really, I am a very powerful woman, and I like that about myself. I am wildly successful, and I like that about myself. I haven't finished. I have more I'm doing. And I think that was the shift that we have to help. We have to help women learn the power within themselves to be seen and heard. Because from childhood, we are taught to people please. Culturally, in the family system, we're taught to people please, and we're taught how to subvert all our desires. Like asking a woman, what do you want? She'll be like, there's want. Like, oh, I can want. Like, we kind of don't know how to do that, Whereas if we teach women that their internal authority, alignment, security, self-worth, self-love is important, then the external things will never happen to them again, because you just wouldn't go somewhere somebody was going to treat you badly, would you?
Exactly. Well said. And tell me about you making $1 billion deal almost, or you made it. We've talked about this prior to
we did. One of my, so I coach women. I didn't make the deal. I coached the woman who made the deal, which is the next best thing, I should say. So I coach women to grow their businesses, and I coach them to grow like big businesses. So it used to be $1 million, then it was 5, then it was 15 million, 50 million, 100 million. And this one client, she closed a deal in January this year, which was a partial sale of her business. And the business was valued at 1.8 billion.
You should be proud of yourself.
I'm proud of her, and I'm stoked because I'm like, that is wild. It's the third largest female exit. And it's just the most exciting thing. I'm just like, she started with 6,000 pounds. And she made her whole company like by herself. And it has been such a pleasure to work with her. And I get to do that every day. I have the best job in the world.
Can you give us like a freebie of your coaching skills? I would love to know what would a typical person, let's say they want to start grossing $1 million a year. How would they get through that without telling too much?
No, I don't mind telling whatever, because it's not like I get rich out of, hiding information.
That's true too.
But I've actually created a program. That's what I've been working on this week, that I wanted to launch for this year, and helping women to be seen and be heard, so that they have the lack of fear of stepping forward, because that's really what hurts us the most. The thing, if you want to go from 0 to $1 million, the thing with people that are committed to business growth are always committed to personal growth. So when you work with people, getting them out of their own way enables opportunity to come straight into their lives. When opportunity comes and you are willing to receive it, prosperity comes. It just is the same train. It's all pulled along. So if you want to get to £1 million, look at what you do really, really well that people will give you money for. Right? Because all of us, like, none of this go for your passion crap. That's for people that have a lot of money. What is your talent? And we're unique. Each of us has a talent that we're really, really good at. Like, if you think about what I sell, it's really stupid. I sell belief. Like somebody sits in front of me and I believe the best version of that. And I help them to unpack into the best, biggest, most richest version, right? That's a weird way to make money in theory. But actually, not everybody gets that. So they're willing to pay me to help them to get there, right? So what's your talent? And when you know what your talent is, work out who's going to give you money. Don't pretend they'll give you money. Actually try sell it to someone. If they'll give you £1 or they'll give you $10, you have a business. Then sell 5 of them. Then sell 20 of them. When you've sold 20 to 30 to 50 of them, work out how to set up a business and how to run a business really, really, really well. And then you have a business. Then from there to $1 million is your mindset. It's learning everything at every step of the way. Look at your hair, right? You have beautiful hair. And when you have learned, I don't know exactly whether you have a weave or it's your natural hair or you have it treated or whatever.
It's a wig.
It's a wig, right? You did not know this at the age of 5, right? You didn't know this at the age of 10. You didn't even know how to do this at the age of 12. You needed help to do it. But you have gotten better and better as you've gotten older at learning what suits your face, what color you're going to put in, how are you going to get that wig, what's the best wig that works for you. And now it's like this. It's the same as running a business. It's literally the same as running a business. You learn what it is, you learn who wants it, then you learn what their problems are, then you learn how to speak to them that you have their answers. Then you learn to deliver their answer for the money and take that money. Don't do it for free because no one's ever going to pay you when you do something for free. And then you're like, okay, now I want 5 more of them. Where do you and your friends hang out? Go find out. That's where your clients are. It's just all very basic, actually.
Well said. Like, seriously, I feel like, sitting up there, coming up with a plan is a great way. And I hope my audience out there listen to that. Just a great plan, to bounce off of what you just said. Like, I have a business plan for my wigs. Like, I go to the store, I'll go to the event, and I'll scope out what looks nice or what could look nice. And I'll sit up there and pick out what would look nice for me. But on a different note, like, you coach, and tell me a scenario where it became your first day of coaching. Were you like coached by someone else? How did it work out? Was it a sale? Tell me about your sale and your first.
Well, it's actually a very funny story because I created juice fasting in this country. So we were the first ever company that sold juice fasting in 2007, 2008. And we had this really, really skinny, terrifying blonde chick who was American. Those really, the tiny, scary blonde ones. And she came in and she was like, I want this, this, this. And I said, listen, I'm not selling you a juice fast because you're way too thin. And I don't want responsibility for this because you need this, this, and this instead. She was like, how dare you not give me what you want? Do you know who I am? And I was like, not really. Sorry. Haven't a bloody clue. So she's like, huh. So she leaves. She came back like 3 days later or 4 days later. And she was like, okay, I'm willing to talk. I want you to do that thing you said. I was like, what thing? I mean, you have to remember, we were still poor, right? We were building this business to pay school fees. It's not like there was money flying out the walls anywhere because running a business is hard work and the startup's even more hard. So I was like, she's like, that bit where you call me stupid, that thing. I was like, I didn't call you stupid. I said the idea of getting thinner is stupid. So she was like, whatever, that. I want you to, I was like, okay, but I need to sit with you and talk to you. She goes, I know. I'm going to do this. Well, sit with you for an hour and we'll talk about it. And then I'll go away and do this. I was like, all right. And so she knew about coaching because she's American, because you guys have had coaching forever. We had no coaching. It did not exist. So I was like, okay. I said, but I know how to charge you. She goes, oh, I'll pay you £250 an hour. I was like, you will? Sold. I'm like, you want to come back every day? And she was like, that's okay. I'll come back once a week, because she was filming and she was doing all this stuff. She was super well known. And so we started working together, and she came back every week when she was in town. And if she was in filming, she would ring me. And she was like, can you fly to this? And I'm like, no, I have 3 small kids. Of course I can't fly to wherever the heck it is. And we got her health fixed. She was on like 11 laxatives a day. She couldn't sleep. Her skin was terrible. It was so bad. We fixed everything. Like her body started to work. She didn't need laxatives. Her diet was fantastic. She looked, and she made her living by how she looked. And she was like, I have a friend who needs help. And it's like, okay. So she sent her friend another 250 quid an hour, and she sent her friend. And I didn't know it was coaching. I honestly did not know it was coaching. I just had all these wildly famous people walking through the door because she was very famous. And then I was like, oh, and then I started to do press for it, PR. And people were like, do you have a coaching qualification? I'm like, that's a thing. I didn't know it was a coaching qualification was a thing. So the only coaching qualification I could find when I Googled was health coaching. And I'm like, I run a health business. I'll get health coaching. So I went to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition and took the course. Which is, slightly brutal. It was 7 or 9 months, and I was running a business, and I had 3 small kids, and I was a single parent. So I'd get up an hour earlier every morning and do the bloody class and whatever. Yeah. And then that's how, so it was by accident, ultimately. There was nothing clever about it, honestly, other than me saying, I will not do what I don't think is the right thing to do.
I congratulate you. Like, seriously, 3 kids, working and doing what the extra things, that is amazing. You should pat yourself on the back. So tell me about your awards. Tell me about those.
Well, before we say that, I should say poverty is such a great motivator. When you're poor and unless you hustle, you're not eating. There's a great motivator. Just want to put that out there. When we were building the business, it's not easy being female, and it's not easy being non-white woman. It's not easy being an immigrant. It's not easy having 3 small kids. And and so the opportunities for people to dismiss you are so high. Right? You're just stacking one thing after another for why no one should take you seriously. And we won the first award by accident, actually. And then after that, we were like wild. Like, people really like it when we have awards. And so we just systemized it. Like, we systemize everything. We find one thing that works, we systemize the crap out of it. And so there's a really lovely, lovely, lovely woman on my team called Debbie. And Debbie's job, part of her job, is to apply for awards. So we get some anyway that people send to us, like the 100 most influential people. Like, we didn't apply for that. That was really great. But the rest, we have the same application. I don't know what she does because I love her and I'd never want to know. But she just fills this. And after a while, the application forms are the same, right? So she copy and pastes and sends it out and talks about what we're doing. And then people very kindly give us awards. But the difference is that it gives you so much credibility. It shortcuts the narrative of the credibility, so that when I'm sending my email to someone or whatever, you'll see all the awards and I never have to talk about it.
Okay. Okay. So where do you see yourself right now? Well said, by the way. I get what I listen. Where do you see yourself going for the future with coaching and awards and everything else?
I love my job. So I would do it every day and twice on Sunday because I just love my job. So I just want to keep coaching. I love the fact that we have these awards. Debbie is going to keep doing her job because she gets paid to do her job. So bless the woman. And I think that what I would like to do is be able to create more programs for women, no matter where they are, to reach in. Because I coach one-to-one and I'm expensive. And now I want to create group coaching and access so that people can come on and learn things without having to pay a huge amount of money. So we need to change how women's lives are in the world. And that's what I'd really like to do.
What is your plan to change pursuing entrepreneurs and business women's revenue and the way they think?
I have 2 plans. Thank you for that question. Do you know that was not a plant? You actually asked that. But thank you for asking me. I have 2 things. I have written a program for building businesses from 0 to 1 million.
Okay.
Because I was like, let's see what happens. And we're testing it on a group of 1,500 women. And we're going to offer it to them at like a really cheap rate. And we're going to see how it helps them, and we'll tweak it to make it work. And then I wrote a program on being visible. It's the visibility gap. And it's about literally called Be Seen, Be Heard. And we've got that. So I want to put women through both, or just the visibility only. and get them seen and heard so that they go back into their worlds much, much more powerful when they left.
And is it going to be an organization? Like how like are you going to like get grants or funding for
I
this
don't need any
program?
funding for it. No, I just don't. I'm not a big fan of going and asking people for money for things, because then they tell you what to do. And I'm like, stuff that. How much money do we need for me to sit in front of a computer and just tell people, here's what I'm doing? And AI and I get on beautifully. So I've got a lot of resources there. You can start a business with $10. Honestly, in this day and age, why do you need money? I don't need money. I do a lot of impact work, and I pay for it using the money I make on coaching. And when you have less money, you're more innovative. So when you think, oh, I don't have any money. Yeah, I know. I was poor as heck, and we were homeless, So it's not like you need, but think of a way to build your business without money, because I promise you that will stand you in very good stead.
What did you learn from now that you're not, I don't know your income strength, but looking back on homelessness, what did you learn now about your homelessness? And what would you have to change? Would you have got in the game earlier? How would you have done it?
Two things. One is that I had to forgive myself for my naivety. I never believed he would do that to me or his children. And a lot of time I felt shame that I was married to a man who did that and I didn't know better. And it took me a very long time to forgive myself for trusting him, and that was very hard. And so that's the first thing. The second thing that I look back on, other than poverty and homelessness sucks, is that people don't understand how draining poverty is. People always like, oh, you just try harder. No. When you're stuck in a cycle of poverty and homelessness and looking after kids, and, I used to get up at 6 a.m. I would get up, do the kids, whatever, drop them at school by 8 a.m. I would work my heart out till whatever it was, 2. And then at 2 o'clock, pick the kids up, then try and ignore them to get more work done, because that doesn't work. Then feed them at 6. And then put them to bed by 7, which I was brutal about, because I had another job that I worked from 7 to midnight. And then I started again the next day. And that's okay, because that's what I did. But people don't ever give enough credit for how draining poverty is. Poverty is wildly draining. It's really destructive. And it takes an enormous amount of mental strength to come out of it.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it. I've been really rich and really poor, and I infinitely prefer really rich. Just saying.
Yeah, I think I would too. I think we all.
Just thought I'd put it out there.
Is there anything or a piece of advice, making money like you are making, that you wanted to give to my people, like my community, the people that watch my show? What kind of advice?
Oh yeah, I have the best advice. So I always had this book. This poor thing is so destroyed. And I used to always have it. I hate lines. So I always had a book like this. And this was life-changing. I just want to say, I don't know how it's going to sound, but it's the one thing I credit for being life-changing. And, I had 11 pounds to feed 4 people the next day. And I'm sitting there at night and I don't know what we're going to do. There's no pair of shoes I can buy for 11 pounds. Not one shoe, let alone 2 shoes, let alone 3 kids of shoes, And so I would, every night, I would draw a line in the middle of the page. And on the left-hand side of the page, I would write, here's what I have to do tomorrow, and make a list. And then on the right-hand side of the page, I would write, here's what the universe has to do for me tomorrow. Because I didn't know how to do it, right? And I would just write, here's what I want the universe to do for me tomorrow. And I would leave it, and then I would do it again the next night, and then I would do it again the next night. And it is wild what the universe did. Well, when I look back, I look back 3 months or 6 months, and I would be crossing those things off because the universe did all those things. I mean, I couldn't get a house, right? Because my credit was screwed, everything. And I remember a company saying, we really want to work with you, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, you know what? Don't give me that much money. I need somewhere to live, because I couldn't get a lease, right? Because you have nothing. And they gave me a house and a salary. And that was the first time I got back into a home that was mine, that I had a door and walls.
And I'm glad that you have lived your journey, even though you had some bad things that happen. Look at you where you're at and where you're trying to pursue in the future. So how can the people reach you?
Oh my gosh, everywhere. Like my name's just a bit dodgy to spell for most people. So but that's the only thing. But once you work out the spelling, come on Instagram, come on TikTok, come on LinkedIn, anywhere, come say hello. And we have a lot of resources we're going to put out this year for women, because this 26, my only goal is how to get to the end of the year. And we have a goal, like literally to help 1 million women. It's a little excessive, but hey, let's fail on the way to the stars.
Well said. Stay on the line. Thank you, everybody, for joining my show today. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you guys another time. Bye.